right. Language B, April 28th video. All right, so we are continuing reviewing for our test. It's coming up very soon. I am going to, just like I did on the last video, do part of the work with you out of the book, and then the rest you will do on your interactive worksheet, okay? So turning back to page 289, we were working there yesterday. And now I'm not wearing the same clothes from yesterday. I just am doing 2 videos in a row because I had a real short day of videos yesterday. So I'm knocking some more out. I don't want y'all to look at me and think, ew, Miss McDermott. All right, so look at thing B. So we're going to insert quotation marks, commas, apostrophes, and end marks in the following sentences. Now this exercise is actually review, I think, a little bit more for the final exam. So number 1, who wrote Huckleberry Finn, Beth? Asked Daniel. So first of all, we have a direct quotation here, correct? So we're going to need quotation marks. So quotation marks are going to start in front of what Daniel asked. What did Daniel ask? Who wrote Huckleberry Finn, Beth? That's what he said. That's what he asked. So our quotation marks go in front of who. A question mark goes after Beth. And then quotation marks after quotation marks after the question mark. Number 2, Beth replied, I think it was Mark Twain, wasn't it? So what did Beth say? What did Beth reply? I think it was Mark Twain, wasn't it? So quotation marks before I, an apostrophe in the contraction wasn't, in between the N and the T, a question mark at the end, and then your quotation marks. No, you're wrong, Beth. It was Samuel Clemens, said Leslie. So what did Leslie say? No, you're wrong, Beth. It was Samuel Clemens. That's what she said. So we need quotation marks in front of no, a comma after no, because when we start a sentence with no or yes, then we place a comma after it. We need an apostrophe in the contraction your, Y-O-U, apostrophe R-E. We need a comma after wrong because we have a direct address in our direct quotation. So a comma after wrong, and then a period after Beth. No, you're wrong, Beth. And then we need a comma after Clemens and quotation marks. Said Leslie, period at the end. Turn to page 290. Number 4. Well, who's right? I've got to know so that I can finish my book report, said Daniel. So what did Daniel say? Well, who's right? I've got to know so I can finish my book report. So we are going to need quotation marks in front of well, a question mark after right, well, who's right, an apostrophe in the contraction I apostrophe V-E. We have to have a comma after book. No, I'm sorry, a comma after report, book report. A comma after report in quotation marks, said Daniel, period. Because he did say book report and not just book. Miss Peterson said, they're both right. Mark Twain was Sam's pen name. So Samuel Clemens was his real name, but he wrote as Mark Twain. So what did Miss Peterson say? They're both right. Mark Twain was Sam's pen name. So after said, we will have a comma. We'll have quotation marks before the word there. We'll have an apostrophe in the contraction there, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. They're both right. That's the end of that complete thought, a period after right. Mark Twain was Sam's. We need an apostrophe in Sam's, apostrophe S. And after name, we need a period and quotation marks. Yes, I remember reading about him in Frank's encyclopedia, said Beth. So what exactly did Beth say? Everything in front of said Beth. So we're going to put quotation marks in front of yes, a comma after yes. Frank's, an apostrophe S on Frank's, a comma after encyclopedia, and quotation marks, and a period after Beth. Remember, inside our quotation marks, there's always got to be some kind of mark, some mark of punctuation. If it's not the end of the sentence, and if it didn't ask a question, then it's going to be a comma. Or if it didn't ask a question or show a surprise or excitement or whatever, then it's just going to be a comma. But if it asks a question or shows fear or surprise, then it would be our exclamation point inside the quotation marks. But at the end of every quotation marks, there has to be some kind of mark of punctuation, and it goes inside those quotation marks. He was born on November 30th, 1835 in Florida, Missouri, said Mrs. Peterson. Did y'all know there was a city called Florida in Missouri? That's funny. I did not know that. So everything in front of said Mrs. Peterson is what Mrs. Peterson said. So we'll go to the beginning of our sentence, quotation marks in front of he, November 30th, comma, 1835, comma, in Florida, comma, Missouri, comma, quotation marks, said Mrs. Peterson, period. But didn't he spend a lot of time in Hannibal, Missouri? Asked Leslie. Okay, so what did Leslie ask? Everything in front of the word ask. So we will go to the beginning of the sentence, quotation marks, but, apostrophe, and the contraction didn't, D-I-D and apostrophe T, a comma after Hannibal. Now this, our direct quotation is asking a question. So after Missouri, question mark, quotation marks, ask Leslie, period. Yes, he did. That's the setting for his two most famous books, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, answered Miss Peterson. So answered Miss, or everything in front of answered Miss Peterson is what she said. So a comma quotation marks in front of yes, a comma after yes, apostrophe in the word that's, in the contraction that's, T-H-A-T apostrophe S, a comma after Finn, quotation marks, and a period after Peterson. Mark Twain's books are fun to read. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta read this correctly. Mark Twain's books are fun to read. Tom, Huck, Becky Thatcher, and Aunt Polly are my favorite characters, said Daniel. So, everything in front of said Daniel is what Daniel said. So we will need quotation marks in front of Mark, apostrophe in the word Twain's. I'm sorry, my nose is getting to tickling me again. We need a comma after Tom, a comma after Huck, a comma after Becky Thatcher, and a comma after characters, quotation marks, said Daniel, period. Okay? So the rest of your work for today is on your interactive worksheet. I want to draw your attention to think C, where you're going to be working. There is no error in if there is no error in verb, pronoun, or modifier usage, write correct in the blank. If there is an error, underline and write the correct word in the blank. So, you know, of course, you're going to have the box drawn, and you're just going to type in the box. But I want to draw your attention to something. Remember, if you have a word that is being used as an adverb, most times that adverb is going to end in what? In ly. So we're going, you know, we're used to hearing a lot of incorrect word usage in this area, like he was hurt real bad. Well, no, he wasn't hurt real bad. He was hurt really badly, because badly is describing was hurt, to what extent badly, and then to what extent was he hurt badly, really badly. So look for things like that to be sure that your the correct word is or is not being used, and if it's not, so that you can correct it. Okay? All righty.